Hey guys, welcome to the Max Invest YouTube channel. In today's video, I want to talk about a couple of different things regarding both Ethereum and Chainlink. I want to discuss if users actually care about decentralization, talk about some Chainlink news with Lido, and then talk about some Starkware news. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, and remember, nothing in this video is financial advice. So let's get into the video. Now, the first thing that I wanted to talk about is if users actually care about decentralization. On Twitter, I see a lot of people saying that users simply don't care about decentralization. They say that users will prefer to use Solana or Avalanche over Ethereum because it's a lot faster and cheaper than Ethereum is. Even though these services are a lot more centralized, people will just decide to use these as they are simply a better alternative. Now, I do think that this is very incorrect, and I think this is wrong for a couple of different reasons. The first big reason for this is because it kind of acts like insurance. A lot of people won't care about getting car insurance. However, if your car crashes, you are going to actually need that car insurance. This is very similar to blockchains. If you use a centralized blockchain and it eventually steals your funds, well, you're not going to be very happy with it. Indeed, it may not steal your funds, or something may never happen to your funds. However, there's always a higher chance. We do know that these other cryptocurrencies like Solana are a lot less secure and a lot less decentralized than Ethereum. So if something ever happened to Solana, it went down and it goes down for good this time, well, that won't be that great for the majority of users. Now, the main reason that I think this argument is quite silly is because it doesn't really matter what users care about. The way I see the future is there's going to be a split between settlement and computation. Ethereum is going to be a settlement layer, and then the rollups on top of it will be computational layers. I believe this is going to happen for every single chain, as I think this is the only way to solve blockchain scalability. It's simply much more efficient to have the computation done off-chain and then settle it on the main chain. It makes a lot more sense from a logical perspective, and we can already see this narrative starting to play out right now. Of course, this means that Ethereum's endgame is to have chains settling on it. So Ethereum needs to be the most decentralized and the most secure base layer to attract entire chains to settle on it. Of course, we know that something like Starkware is going to try and settle on the most secure base layer. This is an entire chain that we're talking about that will probably be holding hundreds of billions of dollars of value. Starkware is going to care deeply about decentralization and security, so they're going to want to settle on the most optimal chain. This is why I do think that Ethereum is doing it right by optimizing for decentralization and not computation, and it is why I think it will beat out all competition in the settlement layer space. The only way that we're going to be judging a settlement layer is how much data availability does it have, how secure it is, and how decentralized it is, and currently Ethereum is winning in all of those areas. Now, this brings me on to my next point. Essentially, Ethereum is going to be able to get more data availability than any other chain, and this is because of decentralization. Essentially, the more validator nodes that Ethereum has, the more data shards that it can have. So the more people there are to split up the computation of all of the data. Now, the more data shards that Ethereum has, this means there's more and more data availability, which means rollups have more space to post their transactions data too. This basically translates to when Ethereum becomes more and more decentralized over time, it's going to become more and more scalable over time, and this will attract chains to deploy to the Ethereum network. So overall, I do think that it doesn't actually matter what users care about. Ethereum will be a decentralized and secure base layer. This will attract entire chains to deploy to it that will offer the best user experience, and users will go to these chains. So overall, I find this argument very, very redundant, and I do think that Ethereum is actually going to be able to go very, very well despite this argument. Now, The next thing that I wanted to talk about is a new Chainlink update. Essentially, Chainlink price feeds are going to be integrated with Lido Finance. Now, if you don't know what Lido Finance is, it's the biggest staking application out there right now. You can currently stake your Solana, stake your Ethereum, and stake a few other different coins with Lido. Of course, Chainlink's price feeds coming to Lido are going to be very, very important. The reason for this is because what Lido does is it issues a staking derivative. So when you stake your Ether, you will get ST-ETH in return for that. Of course, the price always needs to be pegged 1-to-1. If the price ever departs from a 1-to-1 peg, this will directly lose users a lot of money. This price needs to be very accurate all of the time, and clearly Lido have said that they want to get the best Oracle network in the business to make sure the price stays stable. Of course, I think this is a very, very good idea from Lido, and I do think that Chainlink will be able to deliver the most reliable price feeds to ensure that its staked ETH token is always pegged 1-to-1 with the ETH token. Lido has tens of billions of dollars locked up in it, and overall I do believe this is a huge fundamental value driver for Chainlink, and I'm quite excited about this piece of news. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about is a little bit of news about Starkware. Essentially, Starkware just announced that they've settled $300 billion of trading volume, and they're really starting to take off, which is quite exciting. As we can see, Starkware have made their own roadmap where they're going to be mainly a layer 2. However, on top of Starkware's layer 2, they're going to have a whole bunch of different things, which looks very, very exciting. Essentially, Starkware have said that they're going to have the public Starknet at a layer 2. However, they're going to have a whole bunch of layer 3s settling to this public Starknet. They're going to have a generalized Starknet that anyone can use. They'll have StarkX, and what StarkX is it's something for businesses to actually use, and they'll have application-specific Starknets. So they're going to have a whole bunch of different things on top of their layer 2 for individuals to use. I do think that this roadmap is very, very cool, and I think it's very exciting. Now, in order to actually settle the transactions for some of these rollups, they're going to be using recursive proofs. Recursive proofs are very, very cool, as they actually allow multiple rollups to settle easy, and they also mean that you can continue to fit more transactions into a ZK rollup proof, and these transactions will scale exponentially. So this is going to be very, very good for Starkware. Now, the last tweet that I got from Starkware was a very interesting one. Essentially, this is a developer from Starkware called Lewis Guffman, and what he said is he said that they are 100% focused on Ethereum, and they have had enough features and projects for at least over 2 years. He said that there are a few other layer 1s that are asking Starkware to work with them, however they're fully set on working with Ethereum. Now, this actually proves my original point that I was talking about at the beginning. The majority of these rollups are going to want to work with Ethereum, and they're going to want to use Ethereum because Ethereum is the most decentralized and secure base layer that's Turing complete. So this does actually start to prove my point about all of these rollups don't even really want to go multi-chain right now. Currently, Ethereum is the only chain that's really big and is accepting rollups, and it seems like the majority of rollups do want to go to this chain right now, and I expect this to continue into the future. Another interesting point is recently Suzu said that Starkware will probably either make their own layer 1 or they'll start settling to other layer 1s. However, this tweet right here disproves it, and earlier in my video I think it should be clear why this probably won't happen. Now, the next big bit of news that I want to talk about is from Consensus. Essentially, Consensus is a blockchain company, and they're responsible for making MetaMask. What Consensus have said is that they're going to be launching rollups in partnership with MasterCard to provide enterprise-grade scalability, plus address key challenges of scalable applications on the Consensus tech stack. So, what Consensus are actually going to be doing is they're going to be making a bunch of different Ethereum rollups. However, these rollups are going to be specifically designed for businesses. So these rollups are going to be permissioned and they're going to be censored. However, the way that they're going to work is businesses will be able to use them, and when businesses use them, they can comply with regulation. So they can actually cater all of these rollups to regulation standards and allow businesses to actually start using the blockchain. So, a lot of people in crypto aren't excited about this because they're saying, well, this isn't decentralized and this isn't censorship resistant, so why should I care about this? However, my thesis on crypto is that everything is coming on chain, however, not everything will be decentralized. Ethereum as a base layer is going to be maximally decentralized, however, not everything built on it will actually hold this decentralization. And I don't think this is an issue at all. In fact, I think this is very, very good. I think this is great because there are many other benefits to smart contracts that don't include decentralization. Smart contracts are totally automated and they don't use a middleman. They are actually a lot cheaper to use than the majority of real-world contracts, which can cost thousands of dollars in auditing fees. And overall, I do think this will be a great way for a lot of businesses to come on chain and comply with regulation simultaneously. So I'm definitely very excited for these rollups, and I think it'll add a lot more fundamental value to Ethereum. Of course, what this is going to do is it's going to allow businesses to start using CBDCs. It'll start allowing them to make micropayments and private transfers and taxes. So overall, this definitely does look quite cool. Now, the very last bit of news that I briefly wanted to discuss is the Reddit co-founder is creating a $200 million initiative with Polygon for web-free social media. So the Reddit co-founder is actually starting to experiment with social media on-chain, and this is exciting to see. They're going to be spending $200 million to actually start building decentralized social media, so I'm quite excited for this. Now, I do know that the Reddit co-founder is also doing this on Solana, and it's good to see that he's not sticking to one chain. He's looking for a few different other chains, and he's actually using Polygon, which has the end goal of being a layer 2 on Ethereum, and currently is an Ethereum commit chain. So, anyway, that brings us to the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching the video.